this. Not like this.
Yes, this is a mini rant, but one I've been wanting to get off my chest for a while now, and one that will also make good timing, as Mr. T has also just done a video on this, so make sure you check it out. And if you haven't done so already, as I wanted to echo his thoughts, although funny enough I haven't actually watched his video yet, as I didn't want to be influenced by it, but you'll find a link to his video in the description of this video, so please, like I said, go and have a look. When Shenmue 3 was announced, I was in Dubai for work at the time, and I remember jumping on the hotel bed, like a nutter, whilst me and all my good friends typed crazy gobbledygook on Hangouts Messenger, completely stunned at this reveal. But then confusion quickly set in as Yu Suzuki, actually a name I refuse to just casually drop. So let me start that again. Confusion quickly set in as the man, the myth, the Sega and gaming legend that is Yu Suzuki announced that the game was going up on Kickstarter whilst he was on the stage. I laughed at first because me and my friends had this discussion in the past, whether it was out of sheer desperation or us just hoping against hope that if Shenmue 3 was ever announced for Kickstarter, we'd sell our wives and our kids in order to fund it. But this was the confusion. Why the hell was Shenmue 3 actually being put on Kickstarter? Also, why, or more importantly, why was this video gaming legend, who deserves as much respect and admiration, in my opinion, as Shigeru Miyamoto, why was he rolling up on the Sony stage asking consumers, for money, or begging consumers for money to make a third game to a series, which, if you ask me, is the very definition of what a AAA title should be. As time went on, more confusion set in as we learned that Sony were essentially nothing more than a marketing tool, ensuring that this game remains, on Sony consoles only, as far as I was aware, whilst also supposedly helping with the development in the background in some shape or form. Something I, half refuse to believe. Come to today, and we find out that Sony isn't actually even the publisher now. Which makes me wonder how they are actually involved at all. And we also have the first real in-game trailer for Shenmue 3. A trailer I should be happy about, but I'm just not. So why aren't I happy? I'm not happy for two major reasons, really. Let me start with the first one, which is the man himself, which is Yu Suzuki. The way I look at it, Yu Suzuki is Sega in human form. Much like Miyamoto is Nintendo in human form, or Iwata was in Nintendo in human form. This man Yu Suzuki has created and helped create some of the most iconic, influential, and damn near brilliant video games ever made. I'm talking about Hang On, Space Harrier, Outrun. Outrun, people. Super Hang On, Afterburner, Virtua Fighter, Virtua Cop, Daytona USA, and many, many others, until we finally come to Shenmue. Some people, have earned more than respect in this industry. Hell, they should be walking on rose petals everywhere, like like Prince Hakeem, in Coming to America. This man is Yu Suzuki, and he's been in some ways forced to walk up on a Sony stage and essentially beg people for money to make the game of his dreams. Whilst Sony just stands there, basically saying, he's not worthy of our investment. Let others pay for this, for this game. But that's basically what's happened in my mind, which to me is nothing short of a pimp slap to the face. Imagine Nintendo had gone third party after the GameCube or something, and Miyamoto left Nintendo, then rolls up to Sony or Microsoft and says, I need money to make the game of my dreams. Can you help me, please? And they're like, sure, Mr. Miyamoto, we'll help you. But times have changed, brother. We don't like spending money on what is potentially a risky business. I tell you what, you ask your fans for the cash, and we'll make sure the world knows all about it whilst making it exclusive to our platform. Yeah. God, I think it's nothing short. I think it's nothing short of disgusting. Sure, Yu Suzuki, has been out of the game for a while, but that should not impact his legacy and stature in this industry in any way. Fund this man's dream game. Simple as that. It would literally be pennies to Sony. Grab your Sony corporate balls and show some love for the art form that is video games, with these artists who truly paint the best of what this industry can offer when given the time and money. I bet creating 2 bloody knacked titles cost more than what a single Shenmue 3 would cost. Hell, I bet the completely average trilogy that was Resistance cost more than what a single Shenmue 3 would cost. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. Then you have Shenmue 3 itself, but to understand my rage, we need to go back to the Sega Dreamcast. You remember that amazing, unique Sega console with online play, exclusive and original, exceptional software, but was completely shunned by gamers because of the PlayStation 2. Yet Shenmue 1 and 2 came out on that console back in the early 2000s. If any modern gamer comes up to me today and says, those games look crap today, then I either have to ignore them or go whoops upside their heads. Shenmue, at the time of its release, was graphically a video game unlike anyone had ever seen before. Literally no other game looked like Shenmue. I was working in electronics boutique during that era. Hell, I even skipped a day off college to work during a Dreamcast launch. Something I'll never regret. When a demo video of Shenmue was shown, man, seriously, it's so hard to describe how mind-blowing it was at that time. At that time it goes beyond any graphical leap I can even think of today. Even looking at games like Uncharted 4 and Horizon Zero Dawn, those games' graphical shocks and awe, for me, pale in comparison to how good Shenmue looked, back then when it was first shown in the early 2000s. Back then there was virtually no been there and done that. Most things still felt fresh and new. But that's because it was, in my opinion, the golden era of gaming. That 3D, that era where 3D was still fresh, new mechanics were still rolling in as if it was common, and developers wanted to create anything and everything. Then you have the game itself, which for me is a true representation of what an open world game should be, or even could be. Having levels of interaction and environment details that can still put many games today to shame, especially when it comes to stuff like weather patterns and daily routines of NPCs and etc. Shenmue was Sega at their creative and AAA height, creating a game that pushed the boundaries of what video games as a medium could achieve at that time, while still taking massive risks and spending a fortune on it to achieve it. I'm not getting into the arguments about the game nearly bankrupting Sega, because there are a wealth of other reasons why Sega died. But the point is, they wanted to create a graphically exceptional game with mechanics that had never appeared in games before. Real risk takers and pioneers of their time. Sega and Nintendo, man, they're the godfathers of video games. Don't ever forget that. Shenmue was a AAA game series in every shape and form. Come to today, and it's being crowdfunded with one of the most influential developers and creators in this industry. who is essentially having to beg fans and consumers to make it happen. Something once again I find to be absolutely, disgusting, to put it bluntly. Shenmue deserves AAA treatment without a shadow of a doubt. Some people might say I'm being, selfish or unappreciative that, at least the game is being made, but I'm sorry, I kind of I kind of don't care. Some developers and games deserve the respect they are due. Simple as that in my mind. Do I want the game to be good? Of course I do. Do I want the game to succeed? Of course I do. More than most probably. Some of my fondest gaming memories are of playing Shenmue, and in fact it holds a personal record for me as the longest play session I've ever had when playing a game in a single sitting. Shenmue 2's last discs I played from 9 AM on a Saturday morning straight through to 7 AM the next Sunday morning. I think it was the closest I've ever come to death, but man, was it worth it. That last disc of Shenmue 2 was nothing but walking through the countryside, and it was nothing short of exceptional after the journey you previously had with that game. I moan about the AAA games of the world all the time, especially of late. That's something not unfamiliar with me, but that's mostly because the AAA games world, in my mind, is meant to be the pinnacle of what the industry can achieve when you have the manpower and money to go behind, to go beyond the norm. Especially when you want to create a title that truly wants to be at the peak of what this industry can achieve on all fronts. You'll have to excuse me for accepting nothing but the best. Especially when the industry screams and shouts that the next game that has 300 people and working on it, millions of pounds spent on it, when they champion that this is the future of gaming, then it turns out to have various things missing or issues that plague many of our games today. Perhaps a discussion for another day. I say perhaps it will be a discussion I have another day. But getting back, Shenmue is a AAA game, people, with a AAA creative developer at the helm, and it deserves, in my mind, nothing less but the best. That's how I feel. Whether you agree with me or not, let me know your thoughts below. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.